and flip us over. And hello and welcome to Fight for Blight, session 37, The Dead Reach. As we normally do, we'll go around the table, check in with each of our players, and then do a recap before we get into tonight's game. So first, I would love to hear this just for the lulz. Cortilli, how was your couple weeks?
Dude, my couple weeks have been amazing. So I'm coming up a real strong high. I got to corner my first fight for the team, and out of 7 fights, we walked away with 6 wins and 1 loss. It's fucking amazing.
That's awesome. I feel
Yeah,
like that's gotta be some
dude,
good feelings.
it's so amazing. Like the team been putting in so much work, and I just feel amazed at the results. It's been great. It's been great.
So, let's go on the other side of the list. Crix, how was your couple weeks?
It's been good. Hung out with a couple of friends. Race week was last week, so fed a bunch of really rich NASCAR drivers, saw cool vehicles in the parking lot and stuff. And we made a new dessert at work that's pretty yummy, a white chocolate blood orange cheesecake. It's awesome. That's really about it.
Sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think it was last night when the race ended, a whole bunch of the fireworks are going off, and I didn't know at first. I was like, dang, either someone celebrating or someone just got shot a lot.
Probably both.
Welcome to Daytona.
Yeehaw. Just Alan? How was your couple weeks?
Past couple of weeks went well. Not too much happened. Got to visit my family, which I try to do from time to time, every 2 or 3 weeks or so. And I finally sold my old car too, though, so don't have to worry about that anymore. But it.
Nice. And the leader of this, well, siblings, but definitely a odd pair of siblings, or a group of siblings, I should say. The leader, next heir to the throne, May. How was your couple weeks?
The reluctant heir and reluctantly. But it's been good. It's just been a really nice couple weeks, like working. I wasn't traveling this past weekend, so that was really nice. Like my best friend in the world like moved back to town. Not for a great reason, but like I'm just so happy to have her back. Like around, you know? And then I don't think I've talked about this here, but I started playing tennis again and like I'm having so much fun. And I'm hoping to like, you know, start playing more seriously. So it's been nice.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
The last time I played tennis was like PE in 7th grade.
Well, I never played tennis in school, but I played it when I was like a kid until I was like 13. So I was like little till 13. And that was the last time I played tennis. But it's really fun. I just really like whacking shit, to be honest. But you know, I did make for dinner that like chili recipe that I sent to you.
Oh, the sweet potato?
Yeah. Have you made it?
No, not yet. I'm not like a huge fan of sweet potatoes, and that was like the only time I've actually liked them. So I was gonna do it again one day, but Kelly and I have been on like a homemade quesadilla kick lately.
Hell yeah. Those are so good.
I'm glad each of you had a good couple of weeks. Hopefully, me needing last week off gave you a little extra time on exactly how you're going to accomplish some of the goals you set forth for yourselves during our last game. But before that, of course, we'll do the recap for that sweet bonus experience. So whichever of you want to take point on it, feel free. And for each second of silence, I'm just going to take off experience.
All right, so we made our way to Belkarth, and we found a little bit of hope there in that we found direction. It apparently has not been as badly affected by the fog as some of the other places that we've tried to venture to that have turned us away hostilely. We also found out that Blight still stands, and that's what I got for the recap. Somebody else pick it up because I know there's more.
Yeah, May freaking hunted down a polar bear when she was out hunting. Got mad food. And then, yeah, I mean, the only thing I have to add is essentially that the way that we got the message that Blight was doing okay was from just Stalin trying to, like, well, or like, just Stalin dealing with a merchant who ended up having, like, a secret message for him. But something of note is that Ada, sorry, I can't remember exactly how to pronounce his name, but the sort of like heir, the like ruler of Belkarth, seems like he's like really being mm,
Manipulated or ostracized?
yes, like
Yeah, he's definitely struggling.
he's really struggling, and it seems like his second in command is actually like calling the shots and also like potentially like hurting him. So it's like very weird here.
Or at least suppressing him.
Yeah, I mean, it just definitely seems like something is not exactly as it should be in their relationship.
Oh yeah, I actually got onto him about that a little bit. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I was like, is this whole town sus? I don't know.
And the little bit I'll add based on the notes is the message that I got from Visceral stated Blight is fine, mountains are source, and heat will prevail over ice. At least that's what we have in the note. So I think that'll be key in giving us a bit of direction.
Oh, yeah, and our plan is to just hang out in Belkarth, rest, recuperate, get our, like, resources up, get our food stores up. And then also, there are some folks, I think it's like Creep Tilly, and I don't know who else, we're like trying to make some fire bombs out of like oil or something. So
Oh yeah, he asked for fish oil.
yeah, so our plan is to like hang out here for a long rest, i.e., 7 days, before we go back to the Soakland Mountains.
That's pretty good.
And maybe we'll get the dragon to unhand our brother.
One can hope.
Technically, you already have a hand.
Ah!
Wow.
Too dark, too soon.
The door.
Especially with that music.
Like, why did I have to get so happy at that moment?
It's
He
terrible.
knew the puns were coming. I think that's about everything we've got, Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh, something's happening. Could you guys not hear me?
No, we couldn't hear you at all till just now.
Okay, so it seems that my Discord was only on when I had Discord up. So if it cuts out again, just let me know. And then I might just have to reboot Discord. But no big deal. But let me check one thing. Okay, that's good. Alright, just wanted to make sure it was still going through on the stream as well. But I wanted to add, since I guess it did cut out a while ago, I wanted to add that each of you had figured out what date it was as well, which led you all to figure out you had lost virtually the whole month of May, and maybe have answered a little bit of questions on why Vieric had decided to leave after each of you had been gone for almost a month. But with that, we'll continue our story with this. It's still June 9th, year 1101, just as Malone had exited the exotic Stag Tavern, leaving each of you speaking of plans to acquire more oil and food for your journey to the Stokeland Mountains. It has been a rough path, but light has shined upon each of you, giving you a clear indication on where to go, with some questions being answered, and the bit of relief of knowing Blight still stands. However, the day is coming to a close, and a lot needs to still be done. With each of you still sitting with Ada in the tavern, each of you begin to notice his nose begins to bleed much more. And it's even beginning to appear more and more crooked. As Ada brushes across his nose, seeing a bit of blood upon his hand, he just mutters, excuse me. She covers his face and quickly exits the tavern. But as he exits the tavern, no one seems to pay too much of attention as the sounds of drinking and the bards playing begin to pick up. The conversations begin to fill the exotic stag, leaving each of you alone at the table.
May is gonna get up and run after Ada.
He's made his way to the door. As he begins to open it, you're able to place your hand upon his shoulder, get his attention. He turns, hand covering his face.
Here, and I hand him a handkerchief for your nose.
I possibly couldn't take another. I've already ruined this one enough. As he gives a bit of a smirk, holding up your prior handkerchief.
Ada, what happened? Who did this?
So he kind of stutters just a bit in the beginning. You see his eyes shifting, looking around. No one. Well, the person who did it wasn't in their right mind, and they've been dealt with.
All right, well, let me come out here, help you wash it. The snow can at least help the swelling. So I lead him outside, and I take some water from my canteen and like put it on my handkerchief, clean his face gently, and like pack some snow in it and hold it up against his nose.
As you're leading Ada outside to help clean, start pouring the water on the handkerchief, you hear the door open. You kind of look out of the corner of your eye, using your peripherals to see who's followed. You notice Cryptilia has made her way outside. A tankard of ale still in her hand.
Sister?
Yes. Is anything to matter? I just wanted to make sure that y'all had enough to drink and had your fill.
Well, I could certainly use another drink, to be honest.
And I'll hand Mavara my tankard. Um, as I look toward Guy and just say yes. Is anything to matter?
He shakes his head. Everything's fine.
May's gonna look at Creeptilly and like wink as she like holds the ice to his nose and just kind of like move her fingers and kind of like, I got this. And I'll say out loud, Ada, I think while Creeptilly gets us some more drinks, I'd love to talk about where we can stay. We don't want to be in your way, but if you can keep us for a few days, we can find our own food. We just need somewhere warm to sleep.
Well, you all could just stay here. I'm sure there's plenty of rooms. It's definitely more people leaving than arriving.
I see. Creeptilly, can you find some rooms for us, please?
As much as I would like to find rooms for us here, I'm sure that if we had a little more space where we could be more private, it would be more helpful. Is that anything that you could help us with, Ada?
His eyes kind of look up. You can see him, like, thinking. He grabs the ice from you, Mevara, and begins to hold it himself, kind of relieving you of that duty, and says, I do think that there are some places empty around.
We don't need anything fancy. We've been sleeping in tents for God knows how long. Just something to shelter us from the snow.
The Sakun Manor on the south side of Belkarth should do well. No one's been there for a few weeks, and other than needing just a bit of wood, I'm sure you could get that fire going with no issue.
Absolutely.
And
And
as we're having this conversation, I'd like to like start preparing the spell for mending. And since my family is familiar with how like I tend to cast spells, I'll just start muttering words of weakness, and I'll reach over to Ada and I'll touch his nose and I'll say, "Well, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna try it." I'm gonna reach over to him and I'll say, well, it seems as this is broken and you're weak, so you'll tend to be broken." And I'll reach out and touch him just on his shoulder, um, as a drunken sway, but I'm trying to like put it out that I'm more drunken than I am. And I'll touch him and I'll go, weakness. And I'll try to catch mending to fix whatever it is on his face that is messed up.
Unfortunately, nothing happens.
And then I'll weave in, and then when I weave out, I'll walk back inside, and see if I can secure some rooms.
no rooms needed. Ada's got us a house, an abandoned house, but a house. But May's gonna lean in after and go to like kind of shake Ada's hand and just say like, "Thank you for sheltering us. Please let us know if there's anything we can do for you or your people while we stay." And as she's doing that, she's gonna cast Cure Wounds.
It does feel quite a bit better. However, there's not much that you can do. With war either on the doorstep or arriving to the doorstep of Blight, there's not much your father can do in spare supplies. That's why things have been so bare here.
Yeah, I meant specifically if there's anything we can do to help you or your people be more comfortable, even.
It's just food is all the remaining ones seek at the moment. Those who don't want to deal with the lack of meat on their plate have already made their way to Blight.
Why is there such a shortage? Are the fish not being found?
The ships that go off coast, well, they're taken out by any fleets coming south from Direfrost.
I see. Well, I'd be happy to lead some hunting parties while we're here.
That would be great.
All right. Take care of yourself. I didn't mean to stop you from going to bed.
Gives you a bit of a bow. Princess then begins to make his way away.
She nods and heads back into the tavern.
Well, making your way back into the tavern, you see Cryptilly kind of stupering, swaying back and forth up at the tavern, with the dwarf just yelling at her, "Well, do you need some rooms or not?" As he kind of just gets a little bit loud, voice carrying over the entire tavern as he scratches his head. You still see Justalin and Crix sitting at the table.
So I walk up, I slip a gold piece on the bar, and I say, "We do not thank you for your hospitality, but we would like another round. And do you have any food? Do you have any like stews or or breads?" And like Mayvara's like literally drooling as she's like asking about these foods.
Alright, we've got a bit of bread, and we've also got 2 stews. The fish, it's a few days old, but the rabbit, that's fairly fresh.
Excellent. I'll take 4 bowls of your rabbit stew and 4 ales, please.
Throws a few pieces of copper back on the countertop and says, "Alright, be it right out," and then begins pouring the tankards of ale. After a few seconds, turns, serves them to you, and says, "The food will be a few more moments."
Thank you. I take 2 tankards of ale and I sort of like gesture with my face to Cryptilly, "Sister, help me. We have much to celebrate tonight."
Celebration is always in order. What brings you to want to celebrate tonight, sister?
We have shelter. We have hot food cooked with vegetables. And we have an idea of where we need to go to get our brother back.
Very well. And I'll whip out my jug that was previously filled with mayonnaise, and I'll say a drink to us all.
May's like squinting very hard and is like, mm, "What is? What's in there?"
I'll say a drink for us.
Okay,
And
okay, you
I'll
go first.
Here, here.
I'll,
Cheers.
I'll take the jug and I'll take a swig out of it, and then I'll pass it to May.
And I'm gonna inspect it and look into it. Like close one eye, put one eye closed, smell it. Does it smell like mayonnaise?
The white chunks floating in it definitely do.
It should not. I cleaned it out before we changed the content of the container.
Give me
I'm
a
gonna need-
perception check.
Yeah, I'm willing to try it, but only a little sample.
Yeah, they still
I'm a
should
bit
not know
skeptical.
exactly how it works, so I expect the hesitation.
I'm sticking to the bars brew.
So I was trying to roll a perception check, but for some reason, when I hovered over the different things, it would like show a dice two things above it.
What you mean?
I don't know. I just clicked perception and it worked.
Oh, there you go. You're fairly certain you smell some mayonnaise. It's faint, but you catch a little bit.
I like so what I do is I take my hand. On the one hand, I'm assuming it's a jug, like kind of like a growler. So it's got like the loop on the one hand. So I take my fingers, I put those through the loop, and then with the other hand, I hold the mouthpiece and like hopefully without anybody seeing, I kind of cover it up and just bring it up to my lips and don't actually drink it.
Give me a performance check.
Hold on, I don't know what I clicked, but it got out of my character sheet.
That was a perception, not a performance.
And it's got you there.
But I clicked performance.
You might have clicked perception because they're really close to each other, and I click it all the time.
No, I'm telling you, my sheet is like acting crazy. Like it's like clicking things two things above, but not exactly two. I'm gonna just close out my browser and then open it again.
That sounds like a good idea, or even just refreshing.
And that sounds great.
I'm guessing, Cryptilly, your perception was to see if she was covering the top, or no?
Well, I just wanted to see what was going on, so yes.
Oh, well, you always have, like, active perception going on. But unless you're looking for something specifically.
That was me preemptively thinking that you were going to be like, did you see this? And I'm like, yes. I want to know if I saw this as well.
Well, it did seem that everyone was a little interested in at least smelling. Well, not everyone, but at least Mayvara and Just Allen, since Crix wanted to still just enjoy the tavern's brew. So while everyone's kind of staring at May, you see May sniff, kind of look a little inquisitive, and appears to be taking a swig. But Just Stalin and Cryptilly, both of you notice that she's covering the top. I'll even take your higher roll, May, but I do need to know your modifier. So
+0.
yeah, +0. Let me try to reboot if I sound super robot-y.
God.
Using my fireball that does not
No, he's
exist.
back. Stop it.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
Clearer but quieter. But it doesn't sound like a robot now, so that's fine.
All right, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Cool.
That sounds
That's
great
pretty
now.
clear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just had to give Discord a moment to like fully connect in. Okay, so what are you fireballing?
What?
What?
That was a daydream from a drunk. Don't pay that any attention.
See, just Stalin was just playing out of character. It's fine.
All right. Well, at least we got my microphone fixed. At least it's not robot. But as I was saying, May, even with your performance, I'll take your first roll. With it even being a 19, you still had a +0. So unfortunately, everyone notices you. Well, not everyone, but just Stalin and Cryptilli both notice that you kind of palmed the top.
So you didn't want any of that, sister? Not to your liking?
I've had my fill of mayo, brother. For now, if not for life.
And I'll just give a tiny little cackle, and I'll say, "Oh, that makes sense. I can see why you're skeptic, but I assure you, the wine is fine." And I'll take it from her, and I'll take another sip.
And I'll say, Sister, I appreciate you so much. And the contents of that jug kept us alive, kept our dogs alive and well. So much gratitude for you. But I can't take swigs from it for fun.
You can have your white wine, sister.
And I'll look at just Stalin, and I'll say, "Here, here," and I'll shake the jug. I'll raise it to him, and I'll take a sip out of it again. If you're still talking, DM, we cannot hear you.
Well, I'm not talking. I'm just waiting for you guys to decide what
Okay.
you're doing.
I just wanted to make sure.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
Man, we're just waiting on our rabbit stew.
Hey, gotta get some food in our bellies before we go to our new house.
For sure.
Well,
Hopefully.
as said, it would be a few moments.
So, Stu, hang out at this mansion for the night or for the next few days and doing a bit of hunting during the process. I'm definitely game for some hunting.
Yes, you should definitely try your hand at hunting because Creep Chili is not that good at it. Just for the record.
I might be more suited to the tracking portion of it, but I'll attend either way.
Yes. hunting is mostly helpful if you have any weapons that you can use from a good distance. So, for example, your quill. But if not, it might be even more helpful for you to stay and work on the bombs.
Which does sound interesting as well. If I would better serve that purpose, why not?
It's gonna be fun if you want to help.
Yeah, I like.
Bombs or hunting,
Yeah,
either
I
way.
think it's up to you either way. I know that you have the ability to do either. I'm just letting you know what's required and what's helpful.
I think that working on the bums would be fun, and you got a shit ton of weapons that you can learn how to use. Try them hunting. It's my suggestion.
Right. And out of character. I just want to make sure we have everything we need for those bombs.
I've got a shopping list in my head. I'll figure them out.
Okay, awesome.
And I just like to fuck shit up, so I'm sure I'll be good at bombs.
I love the idea of Cryptilli being like the like person, and then Crix being like the execution person in an endeavor. Like that makes me feel very safe, to be honest.
Well,
So
remember, I am a blacksmith's apprentice, so I do have a little bit of crafting ability.
absolutely, and for that reason alone, just tell them to come with me. We'll take the kitties hunting, and we'll hopefully find some people from the village that want to go hunting with us. I think they're mostly used to fishing, so we'll have to have some classes, I suppose.
Oh, maybe y'all can learn how to fish and teach me, and then I can teach my hooks how to have necrotic energy and kill all the fish.
Our bombs will do just the same.
Huh, this one. How are you going to do that? As the dwarf walks up, starts to set porridge onto the table.
Porridge? I thought it was rabbit stew.
Same.
Interesting dinner choice.
I'll flip this table right over. What do you mean?
Easy to digest.
I'll
It's a
support
good
it.
meal.
I'll instruct the dwarf to give me a small living plant.
Where in the hell do I get that from?
I don't know. I just trying to show you how I go hunting. I'll take your hand if you're willing.
Don't, no,
Pass.
no, thank you.
Enough.
Thank you so much. And like May puts like a copper piece in his hand and is just like, please go away.
Gives you like a little bit of a nod. Thank you. Waddles away.
I just go, ah.
That's the kind of thing you try on the last night in town, not the first night in town.
That's what I called my last girlfriend.
What?
Last night in town?
Yeah.
As much sense as that makes, which is very little.
Especially if in character. I was like, wait, what?
Man, in
That
character
was
or
in
out of
character.
character. What?
That was in character, for sure.
It was a stupid, drunken attempt at humor.
That's Creep Tilly. You're welcome.
That was a breeze across the top of my head. That's what it was.
Our hair standing up from the breeze as it went over our heads.
Exactly.
The crickets loved it, though.
So where the hell is the stew though? What's going on? Honestly,
Oh no, he
We're
just
eating
ordered it.
porridge.
is this the appetizer or?
No. He didn't. He delivered stew.
It was rabbit porridge, which is a stew.
Oh, I thought porridge was always more like oatmeal type things or just straight grains.
Yeah,
Yes,
I never thought of it as like
I
a
agree.
What?
It
mix.
was solid. Like it
well,
wasn't porridge, and then
that's what you get when you're royalty, but when you're not, porridge is everything.
Just some rabbit oatmeal.
no, I
Hmm.
disagree. Like there is no such thing as rabbit porridge.
Porridge with rabbit.
It's porridge you just throw whatever into.
You
Hey, as
better
long as
hope
there's
that
some
that's not
rabbit
what
in there
you just.
somewhere,
You better hope that's not what you just served
I
us.
need the meat. You can call it what the hell ever.
I wanted the old fish, so I'm
I,
cool with
I I
whatever.
was trying to help you out, DM. So help me.
I'm not sure what you want help with. Well, you can eat it or leave it.
We'll
I've
eat
been
it,
eating it.
and we've all been eating it.
Well, after your meal, some your last drink or so for the night, you all have a bit of direction to the manor along the south side of town. But you do need to get a little bit of wood to keep the fireplace warm, knowing that it'll be very, very cold inside.
We can just chop up a couple doors inside the house. We don't own it.
Or use the furniture, I guess.
No way.
Worst
Hell
case
yeah.
scenario.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
I'd like to
That, please.
gather some wood if we find that that's necessary when we get there.
Yeah, I was gonna probably cut down a small tree or something near the house.
I'm hoping as a manor they would have some wood stocked up and stored somewhere,
Oh
but
yeah,
we don't know the
agreed.
circumstances of them leaving. So, but I'm guessing they have something there.
It depends on how long that manor has been abandoned. But even if so, there should be some type of wood supply. I don't see people robbing the place and going, "Oh, we got to burn the wood too."
Let's go get this wood.
Let's get the wood.
I don't understand how that's not the first thing you would take from there. If the town is
Maybe in
like
North
having
Point
such a
or
hard
somewhere,
time.
but not here.
Yeah, we in the south. Like, nah, son.
No, once you do make your way to the manor, you do see where the wood stack would be. It is severely covered in snow, but just on the outskirts of town, you can see where the trees begin, maybe just 150 yards away from the outskirts of the village, the beginnings of the Barra Forest. It,
Front handspring.
uh, how much wood or what? Because that's my thing. Or are you talking about something else, Crix?
No, just about getting wood. No, you said the wood that's by the house is covered in snow?
Yep.
What little bit there is? Alright, so we're gonna have to get some other fresh wood because that's gonna probably be snow logged and all wet and stuff and not want to burn.
Yeah, depending on the pile, I was wondering, maybe we can get something out of the center of it. Something that's not on the ground, but not at the top with the snow on it. But it depends on the size of the pile. So, not sure if I'll need a perception check or something,
Yeah, just to get us through tonight.
or survival.
I mean, gathering everything is easily done. As said, it's not too far from the outskirts of the village to where you can get a little bit of lumber for the evening, maybe even a couple of extra for the next few days if needed. Opening up
Cryptilli, can I ask a favor of you?
But of course, as long as it isn't anything that I wouldn't want to do for you.
It's a fairly simple matter. I just ask that you cast Detect Magic.
Oh,
You can't be too wary coming into a new residence.
but of course, brother, that is a great idea. And I'll ritual cast detect magic.
While he's doing that, I'll go out near the tree line and look for a small tree to chop up for some kindling and basically to get our fire started to dry out some of the wood that's already cut up, the larger pieces.
Definitely go for a dead tree, 'cause live wood is a bitch to burn.
Oh, yeah.
We learned that out of character.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, Crix, this
And
is something that you've done like nearly every night, so it's no issue for you to collect the wood, get the fire started, and have it start to burn, come to a nice warm flame, and you hear a few snaps and pops as the fire begins to crackle.
Okay, and I did bring some of the other wood inside
Mhm.
to dry near the fire for later.
This is a much easier
smart.
process for you to complete due to not having or like to be in the snow. You're more used to like having to like make a fire pit, leave everything kind of out in the open and in the elements. This is like being back home. Not as nice, but much better than outside.
Oh, perfect. Then after I get that done, I guess I'll just start doing a. Is this a multi-level building or a single-story building?
It's 2 stories.
Okay. Then I would start doing like a cursory, just walk around of the first floor and look and see if I notice anything that's like an obvious entrance to like a basement or anything, in case there is one.
You do find one. You're like opening some doors here and there. You see like upon like opening the fifth door, you find a stairwell that goes down.
I'll call out to my siblings and let them know what I found.
I'll follow suit.
All right, then I'll go downstairs.
I'll only follow if my detect magic has already gone off.
Oh, you're beginning to cast detect magic?
Yeah, so when Crix asked me earlier, I started the ritual cast detect magic.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even hear that. It might have been when I was restarting Discord. Unless you're talking about for the note, but that time would have already expired.
When we first entered the mansion,
Oh, yeah, I'm
or
sorry, I didn't even hear it.
manor. That's all good.
Um, well, yeah, with the time that Crix takes to go get the wood, everything, your detect magic can be complete.
Yes, yes. Do I sense anything?
No, you do not.
Cool. So I'll follow him downstairs, and I'll let him know that I didn't see anything too suspicious, but we can never be too sure.
Good to know. Thank you, sister.
Definitely. House full of siblings, nothing more.
Making your way down into the basement, Crix leading the way, you just lay your eyes upon a few barrels, crates. Seems like just some basic supplies that have been left behind. Any food or any thing of that manner, probably rotten by now.
That's fine. I was just looking to see if there was anything interesting in the basement.
Nothing that's meant to be fermented down here.
I mean, you can take a look through the barrels and stuff if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to.
I will.
Yeah, I'd like to clarify what exactly is rotting down there.
Propping up and opening a few of the crates and barrels. One you notice is a tankard of ale, or a keg of ale. Turn the nozzle a little bit. You'd see some liquid pour out, and just all in. As soon as you kind of smell it, it's just ale. You know that smell all too well. First crate that you open has bits of bread and things in there, but you can see where it's already beginning to mold. Fruits that have already become very soft and brown. But opening up a few of the other crates, maybe some things to your likings. Some heavy blankets, trimmed with white fur, and some silk.
Nice find.
Yeah, I'll definitely take out one of the blankets and I'll point to the containers that I think there's some good drink for just Stalin and I, and I'll just nudge him and say, "It seems like we might have found some ale and maybe some uncanty wine."
How much silk is there?
3 rolls.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the family if we can set that aside for now. I might have plans for that.
Interesting. That and the nightcap.
Of course, I have not ever acquired a taste for silk, but this fur will keep us warm during the night. Then I'll just pull the silk to the side.
Yeah, whenever we do get around to leaving the basement, I'm gonna take the silk with me up to the living area where the fire is. And just leave it somewhere in that room for now.
Got it.
Also, when we when we go back out of the basement, I like to drape the white blanket around me, and I'll imitate Movara as I climb the stairs, ascend the stairs into her vision.
So, May, what are you doing? Uh-oh.
May
Hey.
is not in game,
Oh,
so she may have had to restart her computer.
Possibly.
I'll check.
go check the whiskey bottle.
I'm here. I thought y'all could hear me.
Nope.
Yay.
Discord just being fun tonight.
Yeah, I'm just chilling and following everybody around, following the group around, making sure there's nothing crazy.
Alright, well, other than finding like a couple of possibly useful things, getting the fire going, is there anything else that any of you would like to do for the evening before getting some rest?
Well, we have to check upstairs. We haven't gone up there yet to the second floor.
May will draw her short swords and like lead the group upstairs.
May, as you're leading the group upstairs, you'll be the first to notice as the others follow behind. Maybe 20, 30-foot hallway. There's 4 doors. 2 on the left, 1 on the right, and 1 on the very end.
I'm gonna go for the closest door.
I'm gonna be the first
Check
one on
them
your
all.
left.
I'm gonna try the knob.
It's open.
I'm gonna open it.
You open, and it seems to be a little girl's room. There's some very nice decorations. Everything seems to be well kept. A few stuffed animals here and there. You see a couple of dresses, but a couple of the clothes seem to be grabbed and just like left upon the floor in like a haste-like manner.
I'm gonna look around, make sure there's nobody in there, and then move on to the next door.
In the next door, you see the first thing that kind of catches your eye is a bit of a crack in an opening in one of the windows. Some snow, very, very little, has found its way trickling in. See a damp spot upon the floor where some of the snow is just kind of like melted. But this is definitely a boy's room. You're definitely used to having brothers, and just like them, most of this room is kept quite messy, just as more than likely they had done when they were younger.
I go to the window and try to close it.
Oh, it's closed. It's just cracked and a little broken.
So I leave and go to the next room. On the right, I believe.
In opening this door, you find the room to be quite a bit smaller. If you had to guess, this was more than likely the servants' quarter. Close to the master, and with range to hear the children as well.
If there's nothing to suggest someone being there, then I move on to the next room.
The last room, definitely a bit more extravagant than the others. Bed is much larger. You can see everything is kind of been grabbed and taken in a haste-like manner as well. You can see a few garments still kind of dangling out of the drawers, some even laying upon the floor. But as you all give a look over this room, can each of you give me a perception check?
Reminds me too much like home.
It does. It kind of feels a bit like home. But Mayvara, kind of making sure that there's No monsters hiding in the closet or under the bed. You happen to stumble upon a crumpled piece of parchment.
What does it say? I look around to make sure there's nothing else in the room, and then I head back to my siblings. It seems safe for us to sleep here, stay here.
Is Ada still around, or did he just show us this space?
No, he just told you where it was, and then he had gone off a bit ago.
Okay.
Should we check the rest of the rooms?
Was that only 4 of the 5 rooms on the top floor?
Oh wait, I might be ridiculous right now.
Oh, that was all of them.
Okay, I thought it might.
My bad. I'm
Yeah,
slack.
we were just kind of like speeding through a couple since there was nothing to like be found in those rooms. Not gonna have you
Gotcha.
roll a perception check every 2 seconds when there's nothing to find. That would suck.
I was wondering.
Yeah. So as far as like Zakun, do we know anyone else in this town that has that given name?
No, not to your knowledge.
Okay.
All we know is that the husband didn't go with the family. And he's not here, so he's probably either dead or turned.
Exactly. I was making sure it wasn't someone that we knew or that we would have known.
Or third option, he's on a business trip and he just hasn't been home yet, so we might want to lock the doors.
He went to go get milk a couple years ago.
Hell no.
Well, the nearest cow is on the other continent, so it takes a while.
Yeah, it legitimately takes a bit.
Goddamn 3-year chip for some milk.
And all you ever end up with is butter.
Just like, fuck, I left for milk and it came back with goddamn cream. I'm sorry.
However, with each of you feeling a bit safe, not exposed to the elements or any creatures that may be prowling around the forest where you normally set camp, each of you can get quite a good night's rest. Even still keeping the watch order, you all will find it to be a very, very peaceful night and getting some of the best sleep that I believe any of you have had in at least a month to 2 months' time.
Best sleep I've had without being unconscious.
Ding, 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 ding.
Perfect.
And as the sun begins to rise on June 10th, you can hear the market beginning to pick up, and a little bit of its busy atmosphere begins to take place. I like the rooster.
The rooster is great.
Sounds delicious.
Perfect signal for the next day. uh, Being able to get a nice stretch and then kind of gather your belongings. Each of you have a full day's plan, I believe, for each of you.
I'm going shopping.
And I believe you're also in charge of Cryptilli.
I thought I was in charge of just Stalin. No, I am in charge of Cryptilli. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm going hunting. Sorry.
That's cool.
Okay, so since each of you have your plans set out, let's start with Crix and Just Stalin, or Crix and Cryptilli, as Mayvara and Just Stalin begin preparing for their hunt for the day, having the full day ahead and being able to kind of get a little deep into the Barra Forest if they do so wish. But Crix and Cryptilli do each head into the market. You have your plan, as you said, at least a couple of things on your shopping list. So, what exactly are you looking for?
Well, I need to buy some sort of bottles or vials that have corks or some sort of sealable lid. I need to get tar. I need to get oil. And I don't know if anything like this exists in the world, but is there anything like Dragon's Breath, the explosive powder, anything like that to my knowledge, or is that not a thing in this world? If there's nothing like that, that's fine. It doesn't change my plans. It would just be extra plans.
Unfortunately, there is not.
Okay, that's fine. We can go with more
Gunpowder
conventional
and stuff
powder.
has not yet been turned in time.
Makes sense, but again, doesn't hinder me much.
No, the oil and such will do fairly well.
Yep, so the size of bottles or vials that I'm looking for is something that can hold probably about a liter of liquid, something that's easy to carry around but not cumbersome, so that you could carry multiple of them if necessary. Maybe like a potion bottle would be a good size, something in that vein.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also need to get a couple large metal basins, like buckets.
Okay.
And Cryptilli, anything you want to add to the mix while we're out looking around?
Yeah. Along with what Chris is looking for, I'm also gonna look for all the like fatty pieces of oil, like blubber, or anything of that nature that I think can burn. Um, Also, like not just like cloths, but dehydrated materials, like dried leaves or herbs, not just for like burning for that, but also for making medicinal stuff in the future.
That just sounds like you're trying to make drugs.
You
And
damn
by that,
straight.
probably potions
Potions for sure.
of
But don't
death.
don't tell people this.
Are you
Yes,
telling
death
Crix that?
potion.
Because
No, I'm
you're
not
telling
telling.
him your list.
I'm telling him the like list, but I'm not telling him what the purpose is for
Okay,
the
okay.
things that I'm asking for.
Interesting, sister.
Yeah. Things go boom.
Yep, that, well, boom may not be the outcome, but definitely burn, burn, sizzle, sizzle.
Crackle, crackle, pop, pop.
Yep, we're on the right train there.
So, as each of you kind of go about looking for your to complete your shopping list, can each of you give me a persuasion check at advantage? And I will get back to you in just a moment. Just Stalin and May. Preparing for your hunting trip for the day. What exactly is your plan?
I'm gonna go see Ada and see if he has anybody that he wants me to go hunting with.
Yeah, because this should be somewhat of a teaching lesson as well, right?
Yeah.
Educational, if you will. Sounds good.
For the record, before I rolled that, I did roll a precision check with advantage on whatever that is, and it didn't show up. Yeah, either way, I just didn't want to like be unfair, so I wanted to say it.
You had 4 rolls in total, and the 14. I mean, your highest roll is a 10. I don't. I think you could have lied, and I still would have felt okay about it.
Yeah, no worries. I
But I
just was like,
appreciate it, bud.
you know, I can't help it.
Um, do. As you go in, attempt to get Ada there, May, you can see him, with a bit of like darkened shades around his eyes. It looks like he has a couple of black eyes, and his nose is still like kind of just like jacked straight to the left from the mid part. And he looks at you, and he's like kind of looks down immediately. And Mayvara, to what do I owe the pleasure?
Well, I came to ask you about hunting, but to be honest, now I want to know how to hunt down whoever did this to you.
As I said, they've been dealt with, but when I want to relax in the tavern and not capture too many stares, I usually just you know, bend the sight a bit.
Well, I'm not interested in going to the tavern. I would like to know what happened. Who hurt you?
He looks around, gives like a little bit of a shrug. I'm not sure. It's someone that was just succumbed to the fog.
What do you mean?
They were crazy, and they attacked, and well, then they were killed.
But this happened last night after we left you and before I've seen you this morning?
Oh, no, no, this is from a few days.
So you're saying to me these bruises and these scars are a few days old?
He nods.
I wish you would have told us.
I'm not sure what help it would do of me complaining about just physical injuries when your home's being attacked.
Yes, but we're staying in your home, and if we can make it safer, then that would be lovely. Right. Well, we'd like to go hunting. Do you have anybody? Do you have a crew? Do you have anybody that'd like to learn how to hunt as opposed to fish? Yes. Send those two guards. Four of us should be a large enough party to scare away anything actually tasty.
And they should be traveling light as well.
Yes. We'll wait for them by the gate. But wait, wouldn't you like to come with us? Of course. Thank you.
He's a curious fellow, is he not?
Something's not right.
I don't think so either.
Okay, okay. Were we able to find any herbs, or were there just none available at this moment?
Get a few red. They look like tops of roses, just the buds, but they have very, very different petals. Instead of like a soft, kind of circular kind of pattern to them, they come out to be more of like a triangle. And when you touch them, it almost feels like it's as like hard as a rock. And Yuri explains that you will need a mortar and pestle to grind this down, but upon doing so and mixed with a few of the other right combinations, that this could make either something very, very helpful or very, very detrimental. Just to what you're liking.
Perfect.
But you have enough to basically make like 2 of each.
Yeah, and I'm sure like the yellow came in like some type of parchment or cloth. So I'll
Yes, a
just
very, very soft cloth.
yeah, I'll take that and wrap that back up very carefully. And I'll take the other one that seemed the red that seemed more resin like, and I'll keep it separate, of course, but like I'll take that one carefully as well.
Okay, so I may have the numbers wrong, but I do believe, um, essentially looking for like an alchemy set, um, basically just the vials and things, maybe even like a brewer's kind of kit, um, essentially. So you have the containers. You also needed some um, buckets. I know that you said like a hard bottom. I was kind of trying to take down the notes, but
Yeah,
basically
some
containers.
pails.
Yeah, preferably metal.
Yeah, pails, something to
Yeah.
mix it in without it like burning through anything.
Yeah. Okay. So I just put a metal container, but I wasn't sure of the exact like wording for it. But I think you were looking for 4 of those, um, and then cloths and the oil, and also
Tar and bottles.
animal fat and tar. So in total, your bottles will cost 25 gold. Your pails will only cost a silver piece. Able to scrounge up a um, gallon of oil, about 50 pounds of animal fat and scraps, mixed in with like blubber and stuff as well. It's all very useful to like kind of make into more of like a burning substance. Just needs a few days of kind of, I guess, like fermenting in heat, if you will. Um, then that will all be a total of 5 gold. And you can get a bucket of tar. And that's just going to be 5 silver pieces.
Cool. And then along with that, can I also get the rest of that alchemy set, like the mortar and pestle?
Yeah, everything's gonna come with it. I'm just like kind of basing it off of that. Um, but like yeah, if you just want to buy the full alchemy set, that's not a problem.
Perfect. Thanks.
And then I also wanted to get some just regular mundane weapons, like, a couple short swords, some arrows, maybe a mace.
Yeah, all of the weapons can be found. Again, nothing really catches your eye, but I mean, the sword will cut, the hammer will smash, and the arrows can be shot.
That's all they need to do.
Exactly. In total, that will be 23 gold.
All right, so it looks like I'm at 53 gold and 7 silver. Perfect, I'll pay that.
Are you paying for the whole thing?
Yeah, it's my project, I'll pay for it.
Okay. I will not object.
Plus, you've paid for so much of our stuff.
But that's what I do. Because I also hoard all of our stuff.
So with all of your supplies gained, if you want to begin working on your projects, take a little bit of a moment and think about how you'd like to go about it. And then that will kind of decipher what I will ask for next. But back to May and Just Stalin. About like 30 to 40 minutes seem to pass before two guards begin to make their way towards you. You can see them wearing very light armor, quiver hanging on their back, and each carrying what appears to be a longbow. As they make their way towards you, they each give you a bit of a salute. Hail, Grimhearth family. We've heard that you'll be teaching us to hunt.
It appears you have some archery skills at least, based on your equipment.
Can hit a target from afar. I've never been able to strike an animal, really even find any in the forest. And looks over towards the other guard, gives a bit of a shrug, says, well, I just usually leave the forest to the Baragamans down to the south. Feels like they kind of just own the place.
Well, it'll mostly take patience and stealth. You need to be quiet and peaceful when you're walking in the forest. You'll learn, even if we don't do great today. Come on. And May leads them out.
We'll definitely do our best.
And just to be clear, there is no conflicts or anything with the Baragamans, right? Okay. I'd like to ask the guards that though, just to make sure, since they do quote unquote own the forest.
Well, it's just more. Their leader seems to be more in touch with nature. Able to make her way out, find white stags, working through the forest and the tree lines. But there's no conflict. He just. More of a respectful boundary, if you will.
Well, you have a healthy respect and a deep knowledge of the ocean as a people. We just happen to not be able to have access to it right now. I have no doubt that you can learn the same for the forest.
Well, as each of
Okay, does it go without saying that I have Kitty and Nyx? Just want to make sure.
Hey yo.
well, as each of you are quite able to pick up the tracks fairly quickly, you do notice that the two guards are kind of having a hard go about it. One even pipes up like, "Oh, is this a sign?" As he holds up like a branch that is so large it couldn't have been snapped by a creature, especially not effortlessly. Perhaps something that's just fallen in the storm. It's definitely easy noticed by both of you.
May like tiptoes to him in the snow, and then when she's very close, she just whispers, "No, leave it quietly."
Just Stalin just chuckles to himself.
Continuing along, each of you make your way out into the Barrow Forest a little bit farther, eventually finding a little bit of a clearing, and you both notice that there's definitely some fresh tracks, no more than a day in age, and it seems to be leading right across this open area into the tree lines just off more to the east.
So I stop everyone as we approach this tree line, and I sort of gesture for everyone to huddle close, and I say, "Do you see these tracks? Everybody needs to remain very quiet, whispering only. Do you see these tracks leading across the clearing?"
And I would say something like, think of these tracks as a pattern. Animals behave like we do, in patterns as well.
Give you a bit of an inquisitive look. But couldn't have anything just done that. Even one of
Well,
us, if, for an example, if we were ahead.
no. Turn around and look at your own tracks. Whoever said that, I'd tell them to turn around and look at their own tracks. And then I take the other person and I tap them on the shoulder and I say, "You, come with me. Say nothing. Scream only if you fear you're dying. I want to hear no other sounds from you other than that.
Gives you a silent nod.
Follow me." And I head out following the tracks.
Crix, can you roll me a d4, please?
I sure can. How you like that?
Just Stalin. Can you give me a con save, please? As you step through the snow, it feels as if something has grabbed and attached itself to your ankle.
No, it didn't.
Well, whatever it did, it gave you like a little bit of a shiver, but it it didn't scare you to let out a yell.
Not today. Guess I'll just grunt.
Each of you continue on.
Yep. If you're talking to me.
Yep, just Stalin and you, May.
So I thought it was just me and the one guard that wasn't a dum dum.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if we were separating at this point based on what you wanted to do.
Well, when there was no indication that you guys were separating, so I just assumed you were staying together.
Oh, sorry. No, there was an indication. I told the one guard to stay back and try to find his own tracks. And then I took the other guard, and it was just me and that
Yeah,
guard.
but I meant just Stalin with that. Like, did you want just
Yeah.
Stalin to stay there with the guard as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess we'll look at his tracks and then try to discover some other tracks, but not venture off too far.
Mm-hmm. And I have
Just in case.
the kitties with me, obviously.
Okay. Let me put it this way. If you guys are going to split the group when you're out and about more like this, I would rather you say explicitly that you're going to split the group, because if I assume that and one of you guys find yourselves in a bad situation, then we could be in for a big rewind.
Yeah, I wasn't like
Yeah, my bad. I mean,
trying to
I just
split
thought
just in
I
case.
just thought that
I'm
I
iffy about the
say that.
gun
Yeah,
shit.
I just figured you were sending the guard and taking just Stalin and the other guy. Like, God, this guy's he doesn't know how to track at all.
No, I said you stay here and study tracks until you can distinguish between animal and human. But like, I'm gonna take this other guard and go across the clearing. But my bad if I didn't make that clear.
Yeah,
So I guess
like,
we'll just play catch up after we look at his tracks. That's a better option, I
Yeah,
think. Instead of deviating.
what it sounded like to me was she was trying to get just Stalin and the other guard to find her and the other guard afterwards, like after they looked down.
okay, fair enough.
I could see that.
Either way, my role that I needed for the save still stands, because the D4 it was odds or evens to whoever has to deal with this. So
So
nothing's
what
changed in that aspect.
did I feel anything
Oh yeah, you
from
felt something
whatever
and grabbed
happened?
your ankle.
So something grabbed my ankle.
Correct.
Did I see it?
No, it's below the snow.
Gotcha. Curious. Well, I like to think I'll at least keep my composure and not freak out.
Yep, that's what the con save was for.
Yeah. Just brush it off, but notice it at the same time. Okay.
Yep, 100%.
And then what do you do?
He said he just grunts and kind of waves it off. But if then my follow-up question was if you're going to continue across the pass. So May, if you are continuing across the pass, you'll begin to see a few things as you kind of make your way up a small hill, get a better view of the overall area. You can see some upturned snow, bits of wood that seem to be buried in the snow, broken trees, the trunks seeming shattered as some of the tops just like kind of lay, being buried more and more in the snow each day.
Can I keep following these tracks?
Yeah, it seems to go right through the area.
What are like? Do I know what it is and how many there are?
It seems to be one deer.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to follow if it's not too far.
As you continue to follow, the tracks kind of just like end about halfway through the clearing. And you find yourself just in like the midst of this opening.
I look around.
Guard looks.
I was gonna say I look all around, and if nothing seems sort of like supernatural, then I have something to say. But yeah, I look all around, like 360. Yes, actually, too eerie. Let's go back. quickly now. And I turn around and run. I shout, "Hey!" I keep running back towards the trees to where just Stalin and the other guard are. Did you see anything? I don't know where he went. He was right behind me.
No, I can only say that I saw this one.
A maid draws her short swords and says, "Did you see anything strange?"
Well, I felt something strange, but I thought it was perhaps a root. But honestly, it felt like something grabbed me through the snow.
What? And May like hops up on a root of a tree, pointing her swords down.
You appear to be panicking. Why?
Well, the tracks we followed disappeared halfway through the clearing. It seems like the deer was snatched, just like the guard. Everybody, focus up.
Hmm.
Get your weapons ready now.
And of course, I'll like draw my short sword, but I'll ask the guard, has there been any rumor or any occurrences out here with people venturing out, being snatched up or killed? Hmm.
Something's up. Seriously, stand up on a tree, on a shadow, on a root, sorry, or on a limb.
And I'll definitely do so and hope the other guy does too, at least for the moment.
May says, Kitty, Nix, up, and points up into the tree behind her, which they. Yeah. She then is just looking into the clearing and into like the ground beneath them to see if she can spot any movement.
Each of you can give me a perception check. maybe a bit to everyone's surprise here, but neither of you see anything. And then the guard points there, and each of you follow the signal and see like a little bit of snow kind of being burrowed up ever so slightly.
Is it close? Or
I'm,
how
I'm gonna
far
try
would
to
it be?
hit it with my bow.
Um, Unfortunately, this will be at disadvantage because you don't have sight of what you're trying to hit. It's more of like about where it is, or you're, I guess, estimating.
Yep.
But you did roll a 2, so I don't imagine it getting much lower. No. But it will be a miss, unfortunately. Well, not so much of a miss as you're not sure if it actually hit. You just see the arrows sink into the snow and kind of disappear.
So I just like keep watching. How far away was the movement from me?
20 foot. It's not very far.
So I just keep watching to see if I can spot more movement.
After 10, 15 seconds, it seems to be heading out towards the opening where you had come from.
I go for it again.
It will be another disadvantage attack. Just don't roll a 1. Nice. Arrow sinks into the snow. This time, feel a little bit more confident in your aim due to the release, but you're still uncertain if it's hit or not.
But it is returning to where it came from, going away from us, right?
Yes, it is heading away.
Is there any movement still?
Yes, it's just very, very slow.
Okay, I'm gonna go again.
Whatever this is not what we planned on hunting at all.
That's because now you're hunting for wabbits.
The wascally kind.
Another third arrow sinks in. This time you don't see any movement.
Look at Giselle and I say, I'm gonna go investigate. I think I got it. And I call Nyx down from the tree as I jump down.
I'll have my dart ready.
And I'll draw my short swords as I approach.
You approach where you struck the area. You begin to dig down into the snow. May, can you give me a con save, please?
And I would tell her, sister, please be cautious. I'm not going there.
You're digging through the snow, kind of shoveling it along with the sword. You kind of try to push some snow away, but it's just met with like a brute stopping force. You feel a slight tug upon the sword, and it gives you quite a scare, but nothing else really seems to happen. But then it feels as if the sword is released.
I jump back, but I say, "Who are you? What do you want?" I'm still like pointing my swords at the. Oh.
And I would yell, get out of there.
You don't get a response, but each of you begin to hear footsteps. The guard has made his way down from the tree and has his bow knocked at the ready. What is it? What did you find?
Nothing. I couldn't make any sense of it. Excuse me.
The wind continues to howl through the trees. Give you a brief moment to think about what your next move is. We'll jump back to the others. Crix and Cryptilli, how would you like to go about putting together your project? This is definitely not going to be a short project from what it sounded like. I feel like you guys are going to go in with an artillery now.
Yeah, it sounds like trial and error to me is Cryptilli's favorite way of going about anything.
Well, the first thing we need to do when we get back to the house is we need to dig 2 fire pits outside and get them going, and then fill one of our buckets or basins or whatever they are with the tar to start heating it up and loosening it, and the other one with our animal fat to start reducing it. That's the first step.
Okay, so you start putting that on the fire. That doesn't really take much skill. Easily done.
After we do that, we need to go inside and fill our final bucket with our oil and just put that near-ish the fire so it's not too congealed, as oils sometimes do. And then I'm gonna tell Cryptilli, remember the all the silk we found in the basement? We need to cut that into long strips.
And I'll say that's something that I can do.
After you cut them into strips, I need you to take half of the strips and put them in the basin in the oil to soak. The other half we can set aside for now.
And I'll get started on that task.
While he's doing that, what's the next thing I got to do? I got to. The next step requires the tar being fairly malleable, but not liquidy yet. Kind of like roofing tar. Well, once it's at that point, I need to take a portion of it and I need to spread it on the blades of the short swords and leave that to dry. And then I'm waiting for the oil to get completely almost liquidy. And at that point, I'm going to dip my warhammer and the mace I bought in the tar to coat them.
These are all fantastic ideas.
That will probably amount to it being a torch. I know.
I just don't know the exact time it would take for like how malleable you want the tar to be. But you have the whole day, and I imagined it would get heated up at least within an hour or so.
Well, it's going to take at least a day or two to reduce the animal fat to be usable anyway, so this isn't going to be like an immediately done project.
Yeah. I just imagine with the list so far, this definitely sounds like a full day task.
Oh, for sure.
So the only thing I would want from you is I would almost say give me an intelligence check first and then either like a blacksmithing, or if you have like a tools proficiency, you can use that as well.
Hey.
Oh, where'd it go? I had. Oh, wait, no, I wasn't proficient in blacksmithing yet because I'm just an apprentice. So, what should I roll for that?
Yeah, I like the huzzah better for natural 20s.
I thought I rolled another thing. What do you want me to roll for this check?
If you don't have either of the smithing proficiencies, then I will take a dexterity check, but you have it at advantage because you have a very, very good idea of how to go about it.
Not that good, apparently.
But, I mean, it's still able to be completed.
Okay,
But-
the next step is after soaking the strips for a while, we'll take them out of the basin and hang them to essentially drip dry. And then we're going to wrap the warhammer, the mace, and the swords in some of the soaked silk strips.
That's almost a tongue twister.
It really is. I'm surprised I got it out as well as I did.
Soaked, what was it? Soaked
Soaked silk strips.
Battle ready weapons, I guess.
Well, almost. The last thing you have to do is after they're wrapped, you need to wrap them with some dry silk strips so they're not all sticky.
Or else they won't fit in my backpack.
The next project after that is we're going to take some of the cloth we bought and dip that in the oil briefly, and then wrap that around the shafts of the arrows near the heads, and then wrap that in the soaked strips and a little bit of tar to seal it all together. And we've got some fire arrows. And then we are just waiting for the animal fat to reduce enough to be almost like a gelatin kind of deal.
Okay.
Or not a
So we'll say at this point it's like roughly midday. When you're starting to get like all the weapons and arrows kind of wrapped. Just to have like a time frame so everyone's aware.
Okay, and then the last part is putting the Molotovs together, essentially. We'll take the last of the remaining oil that wasn't soaked up by the strips, we'll pour it in with the reduced animal fat, and then we'll fill the bottles we got with that mixture, leaving about a quarter of it empty from the top, so there's some air in there. We'll take one of the silk strips that are soaked, put it down in the bottle. Then we'll seal the top of the bottle with the cork and a little bit of the tar, and wrap the rest of the soaked silk strip around the bottle, and then leave a little tab off of that and wrap the rest of it in a dry silk strip. And they're done.
Perfect. Feels like you've done this before.
I've been thinking about it since last week.
Cryptilly, since you'll be helping in this endeavor as well, can I get an intelligence check from you?
I'm not intelligent.
Neither am I.
All right. I need a dex dexterity check, but yours is not at advantage.
That I'm okay with.
All right. So each of you work together fairly well. You don't have the exact idea how to go about it. You might have had like the end result idea, Creptilly, but Crix knows exactly how to accomplish this. So he's able to kind of direct you, and then you're able to kind of like make the materials and the silk strips to like perfection. They're cut perfectly. They're not frayed, which may cause like a bit of hindrance when they're trying to dry or be lit. This is well done. But as said, that will take the whole day, but at least we got your rolls out of the way. And we'll go back to Mayvara and Justalin. It's roughly just about midday at this point. Each of you are just on like an opening of the Barra Forest. May had shouted out, but to which there was no response. We haven't found anything. Should we continue?
We haven't found anything, but your companion was taken.
Something is definitely not right.
Well, that's
That's an
what I mean.
understatement.
Like, we haven't found anything like that's any signs of him or what's taken him or.
Can I roll it like an insight or another perception roll?
It kind of depends on what you're looking for because those are different things.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll. I mean, I would like to freaking trace back all the tracks and see if I can find like a common denominator.
From where you had come from, where you sprinted away, or where you had entered through the Bear Forest?
Like where we sprinted away.
Yeah, you can. If all of you would like to go, look for some sort of clues that can be completed. You just have to go about a little bit farther out into the opening.
I'm like, fuck that opening at this point.
Yeah. I say we turn and run. To be honest. May says that out loud. I say we turn and run. I don't know what took your brethren, but
I love the thought of playing the hero, but this one, something's not right.
With everything else going on, there's no say of what it could be. If anything, I feel that you're right. We should go back and at least get more help.
agreed. Let's go quickly now. Don't worry about the noise you're making.
Each of you begin to make your way back. It's only going to take about an hour to get back to Belkarth, putting you just a little bit after noon. The sun beginning to make its way down to the west, but still very much so near its peak in the sky. As each of you make your way back, you can hear that the marketplace is still in a pretty busy atmosphere as more of the vendors have set up shop. You can see a few of the ones you'd recognize from the day prior, and even a couple of new ones as well. Not anything of eye-catching significance, but you can see them setting up some food for sale.
I turn to the guard and I say, go back to your commanding officer and let them know what happened. Tell me, where can I find Ada?
It's a bit too early for him to begin drinking, so he's either up near the gallows on the north, watching out towards Direfrost with Malone, or he's at the manor. Well, his manor, to be more precise.
I turn with the cats and Sullen hopefully towards the gallows to try to find Ada and Malone.
I'll let them know at once.
Did I see May and Company return?
No, you all are on like the south side of the village. It's not a very large, but it's definitely had an eye shot.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
But May and Jocelyn, you can make your way towards where your brother and sister are, if you wish.
I'd like to try to find Ada and Malone first.
Got it. Following the guard up to the north, you actually do find Ada and Malone uh, very easily. And as you're making your way up, Malone has his arms crossed and is just like looking down, not in like a negative way, but just purely because of like height difference, looking down towards Ada. But Malone does look very disgruntled as Ada is explaining a few things to him. You can't make out what they are, but you can make out that they are having a conversation.
Pardon me, Ada, Malone.
They both look.
Sullen and I were out with two of your guards, and something snatched one of them up from the snow. Do you know anything of this?
They shake their head. Malone speaks up. Nothing that I've ever heard of. And looks towards Ada. Ada replies, Me either.
Something literally snatched him from the ground, and I suspect a deer too. A deer we were tracking.
You have no idea what it is? There's been people crossing the forest for weeks. What if the same has happened to them?
I suppose it's possible. We couldn't see anything other than some movement in the snow. I tried shooting at it, and I think I hit it, but still.
Ada pipes up. well, well, then it must be disposed of at once. If it's detrimental to any of the surrounding villages, then it needs to be disposed of. Malone cuts in. Oh, we can't expand, like, put out resources like that. What if the fog comes back in a few days and we have guards patrolling the forest looking for who knows what?
Well, yeah, but perhaps we can spare a few guards just to investigate.
Well, Ada had me send you two, and you've already come back with one. How many more do you expect to lose upon this endeavor?
I don't know. I expect to lose none, to be honest. I expected to lose none today.
At least now we know of its existence.
Perhaps you can bring me back some sort of sign or really anything of what we would be looking for. We could we could spare a few guards, but at this point we could just be chasing ghosts.
Perhaps I could. I suppose I must speak to my siblings and see how they want to proceed.
We definitely need to let them know.
I agree. He looks towards Ada. What's the call? Ada looks over towards each of you, then over to Malone, and back. So I think Malone's right. I think it's best to figure out what we're up against before sending more. But I also agree with you. We definitely have to alert the neighboring areas. Maybe they know more about it.
So, what exactly would you suggest?
Excuse me?
I just mean that you seem to be wavering. I'm not clear on what exactly you would suggest. What is next?
Out of character, I just got a lot of cut out, so I have no idea what you were asking.
I just said I don't know what you would suggest.
I would suggest finding out what this thing is before just warning the others of something mysterious in the forest. If you talk to the shaman down in Baragama, of course she would say that everything in the forest is mysterious. For all I care, fuck those from Direfrost. If they go into the forest, let them disappear. But I'm not sure how many of those from Ganissus still travel to the forest, if there are any left.
Right. It seems like an important thing to find out for your village, for your people.
It's definitely close.
Perhaps we could send a couple more guards with you, but we couldn't spare to lose more to whatever this is. We would need all of them back in one piece, preferably alive.
Yes. Perhaps after a few days, when we've gotten our rest, we can lead an expedition. Our siblings, myself, as well as a few of your guards.
Very well. You let me know when you need everything, and I'll make sure Malone takes care of it. And he kind of smiles, looking up towards Malone. You can see Malone just has like this disgusted look upon his face. He kind of scoffs, turns, walks away. Whatever you wish.
May looks like so confused and is just like, I don't understand why, unless he knew what the risk was already, why he would act that way.
Did you say you're wondering this, or you were asking us?
I said that out loud.
Ada shrugs. I'm not sure. I mean, things have just been rough here ever since the fog, but I believe he's just worried that we'd lose more guards and we wouldn't have enough to protect the village.
If there's no food, there is no village.
That's
That's
right.
true. But like I
I would
said, you
like you
just
all to think long term. That's all.
nods. I agree. Mm, I mean, maybe it's just best that we begin to make our way to Blight ourselves. Perhaps we'll be safer in the castle walls than exposed here.
Perhaps.
Malone says that if we leave, that we would just be giving up more ground to those who are opposed to Blight. But as you said, just Stalin, if there's no food, there's no village, and uh, I wouldn't want to lose Belkarth while it's only been in my hands for such a short time.
That's completely understandable.
Even if the people of Belkarth find shelter in Blight, it doesn't mean that the village is gone. Just that it's
No,
really temporary.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It would be temporary. You can't compile an entire nation of people or a country of people into one city. It can't sustain.
Perhaps you could write a letter, give some sort of word if I do act upon this, so when we arrive to the castle, we can at least have some form of entry. If they keep being attacked, I'm sure the gates are sealed. But if what we've heard is true, and perhaps they'll take all the guards and anyone willing to fight that they can.
We can definitely write a letter, but do you have a way of getting it to Blight?
He kind of just like playfully like walks in place.
What
It's a
about the
cool
fog?
question. I wonder whether you take the main roads or not. That's a risk.
I believe we have enough guards to be able to fend off and protect if anything came from dire frost, but from the sounds of it, if there is something lurking out in the forest, the roads may be a safer path to take. An enemy that you can see is a much easier enemy to fight.
Then we have to expose the enemy. Get rid of the snow. We'll see whatever's there, right? Easier, possibly said than done.
Well, I did see your siblings gathering supplies. Lots of oil, from what I gathered, but maybe they've got something going that you can melt the ice away. From the talks last night, it almost seemed you wished to bring Zidane to an unfrozen continent.
Hmm.
when necessary, for sure. Even that much I agree upon.
If that's what it takes to save it, so be it.
Well, it definitely would be warmer. I'll give the others my regards. Send word if you need me.
Definitely.
Thank you. We'll go speak to our siblings now about our plans.
Gives you a smile, nods, then a little bit of a bow as well. As you each turn to make your way back to your siblings, you can soon find Crix and Cryptilli hard at work. You see the fire roaring in the back, just outside of the back of the house. A few um, pails and buckets of some sort of concoction is burning as you can see the steam rising and hear the bubbling coming from the within the fire pit. And then Crix comes back out, one hand holding a sword wrapped in these like soaked silk cloths, and a hammer wrapped in the same. Cryptilli comes out and just has tons of these strips of silk, like draped over her arms, making sure that each of them are the same perfect length, and then even trimming away a few of the frays as well.
And just Stalin is just dying laughing, but he's also kind of proud to see the effort.
And I was just about to say, if they notice me before I notice them, I'll simply respond, I'm only filling in as Adashi's away. And I'll just keep walking.
Ah,
You're
welcome
feeling
back.
quite a bit. And I would say something along the lines of we could probably use this fire a little bit more sooner than we anticipated. And then give them the whole story about what we encountered to see if, it's worth pursuing to get rid of whatever kind of creature or entity this is out there.
That does sound troubling. We should definitely probably take care of the issue. The only word of advice I have about using the items that we've been producing is that they are one time use.
And I'm wondering how limited we are in those one time uses.
Yeah, you can only light them up once, and I don't know how long they will last, but they will definitely bring some fire and flame to whatever you want to bring that to.
But the amount of those one time uses,
Uh,
that's my thing, my question.
and I'll hold up my banded stripped arms and I'll go. Uh, Simply enough for Cilium.
Ah, the priority.
If I could get my hands on more materials to restock whatever we use, I have no objection to testing them out before we take them up north. I would just like to not expend the resources if not necessary. That being said, it felt really nice to make something with my hands instead of destroy with them. Even if I am making something to destroy.
I was about to say make destruction.
I always prefer to destroy, and
It's
I'll
inevitable.
start to make a chill touch with my hand, but I won't like cast anything.
But you've been so helpful in this, Cryptilly. Your work in cutting the strips has been, I dare say, masterful. Your attention to detail is so great.
And I'll just take my arms and drape all of the bandages over just Olin and walk away.
So she finally learned or had to learn the use of bandages. Interesting.
I wouldn't necessarily call these bandages, but to a degree. Don't let her fool you. She's been enjoying this more than she'd let on.
May,
Why
if
don't
you are talking, it's not working again.
why don't we move inside? I have a couple things to show you.
Sounds good.
So as each of you make your way inside, the fire is still crackling, and it seems that this manor where each of you had found a good night's rest has, within half a day, been set up into almost like Ohan's lab. See these soaked silk strips kind of hanging, drying out by the fire as some oil kind of dribbles down into a catching pan down below. See the jars, the flask, and other containers that have been filled with oil and prepped, ready to go. There's been quite a bit of work done in just a short amount of time, but each of you know that there's still a lot to accomplish.
Were the weapons completed at this point or no?
Not fully, because they got back a lot quicker than I originally thought they might investigate a little bit more. So I wanted to make sure I specified the time. Thanks for the follow,
Okay.
Trevor. Everyone
And
say
here
hi
I
to
was
Trevor.
hoping to present them with presents.
What up?
Everyone say hey, Trev. He's in the Twitch chat.
Hey, Trev.
Oh shit, what up, Blue?
What up, cuz?
So when we move inside, I'll kind of show them what we've got done and what we're working on and explain sort of the logistics of it and tell them what I've been making so that they can decide which of the implements are best suited for them between the swords, the mace, and the arrows. That way, when they're done, they can just snag them up if they want any at all.
So just so you all know, Trev said he misses you all and he doesn't appreciate the lack of hood rat activities. But I did explain to him that you all made a whole bunch of fire weapons and stuff. Basically getting ready to commit a possible hood rat activity.
I mean, how could you not commit arson with what I've made?
We've also shot a lot of shit in his honor.
And
Mhm.
gotten into arguments with 2 separate cities.
This is all true, Trev.
The civil unrest is real for sure.
So, since we're a little bit over our time just by a minute, so I don't keep everyone here too late past 11, is there anything else you would want to get completed besides what was stated earlier? for the rest of the day, because you do have a couple of hours left before needing to get rest for the night.
Yeah, the only things that I have to complete personally is going to be cleaning my jug again and emptying the contents and putting wine back in it. And I'm going to rearrange my spells for the night. Yeah. Or in the morning, I guess.
And with having a nice roaring fire, you can easily make sure that this jug is cleaned out uh, very well. Able to boil water, melting down the snow, boiling the water if you wish, and making sure everything's kind of scrubbed down. With all the time that you have left in the day, that can be easily done.
Nice.
Finally.
Hey, I always clean it out to the best of my abilities.
Yes, go ahead and
Yes.
give me a
It's
performance check,
taking how long?
Cryptilly. Last roll for the night, Cryptilly performance check. Yeah, you're able to get the mayonnaise remnants and even the like looming smell out of there. So when you fill it back up with wine, it's just like a sweet, perfect smell.
Oh, yeah. I'm not offering it to nobody. Just eat
All
Perfect.
right, y'all. Well, I hope you had fun for the night. Can't wait to see what you all decide to do next week. Because there is just so much that you can do in pretty much a straight path if you wish. But we'll see what you accomplish.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right,
Got a
everybody.
little bit of brainstorming to do.
Yeah. Seeing that fire experiment was a big brainstorm for Crix. Um, one thing that I'm gonna bring up to everybody off stream, so just hold up. But first off, everyone just have a good night, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Night night.
Catch you later.